Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Jimmy Brooks and I'm going to be starting a series that I'm pretty passionate about. What cars can you get for the money? Now we're going to be starting off the series with $1,000 or less. And I have a huge problem with pretty much every other video I've ever seen done on this topic. Every time I watch a video titled Best Cars for $1,000 or 5 Amazing Cars for Less than $1,000, these cars have never ever been $1,000. Even if you go all the way back to when YouTube first started, these cars have never been $1,000. They're usually talking about Trans Ams and just older V8 cars and fast cars for the money, and they've just never been close to that price range. A lot of it is just clickbaiting bullshit. So with that said, today's video is going to be about awesome cars you can actually buy for $1,000. And to show you guys, I'm going to put up ads of cars that are actually on sale right now that I was looking up last night. So without further ado, let's get to number 1 on our list, which is going to be the BMW E30 3 Series. So a 3 Series that you could actually find for less than $1,000 would be the 1982 to 1988 models, which featured the 127 horsepower motor. Now I know that doesn't sound like a ton of power, but let me tell you what makes this car great. It has a near 50-50 weight distribution, it has a really good gearbox, it's very reliable, it has a very linear power band with decent torque down low, and it's less than 2,600 pounds, which is very light. You don't have a lot of weight to push around, and it's very tossable and it handles very well. This car is just a well-balanced, cohesive package where everything just works with each other and it just makes such a great first driver's car. So on to number 2, that is going to be the world's cheapest project car, and I am talking about the Volvo 240. Now for the context of this list, of course it doesn't have to be a project car, you could drive it as is because most 240s ever made are still on the road. These cars are cool for an entirely different reason. They may not be as fun to drive right out of the box as an E30, but the engine block and transmissions of these cars are bulletproof, over-engineered rocks. You can go to the search bar right now and find videos of these stock internals, the stock blocks of these 240s taking easily 400 wheel horsepower. These things are so strong and usually just unbreakable, so there you go, if you want something that won't break. 240. Number 3 is going to be very similar to the E30, and that is the CB7 Honda Accord, 1990 to 1993. Now I don't just own a 2016 Camaro, I also have a work car, and that is a 1990 Honda Accord. It was $1,000, and for having over 200,000 miles on it and it being a 27-year-old car, it's been pretty damn reliable. It weighs 2,700 pounds, it has over 120 horsepower, not a lot, but it does have more torque than that BMW, 140 pound-feet, and most of that starts at 2,000 RPM. Everything just feels nice on that car. The steering is pretty good, the gearbox is great, the chassis is freaking solid for how old it is. The power delivery of the 2.2 liter engine in these old Accords probably goes against everything you've ever thought about old Hondas. VTEC does not kick in, yo. This motor just produces a tasty amount of torque in any gear from 2 to 5,000 RPM. If I had to pick any old car for zipping around the city, this would be the one. This car segues us nicely into number 4, which is, of course, the Honda Civic. We are going to use a 1995 example, and this car does not have as much performance as the aforementioned cars, but the gearbox is still a great Honda gearbox, the steering is pretty good, it's super light, and they are just everywhere. It is damn easy to find one for under $1,000. And that is basically why it makes this list. This rev-happy engine will always have a place when talking about good old cheap cars. And finally, number 5 is a bonus car, because it did not quite make the cut of under $1,000, but it is $1,500, and this is so much car for the money. I'm talking about a Ford Crown Victoria, and I found a 2003 last night. So the Crown Victoria is obviously the least enthusiast-oriented car on this list, but it's a V8 that makes 220 horsepower and, way more importantly, 272 pound-feet of torque. That much torque for only $1,000 is going to feel more powerful while just cruising than a modern V6 Challenger, I promise you. The ride is also extremely comfortable, it's a practical big car, you can store a lot of stuff in it, take a bunch of people, and it's the big cop sedan from 2003, so needless to say, the crash test ratings on this car is phenomenally better than any of the other cars on this list. So yeah, a lot of car for the money there. Do not buy your 16-year-old some old big broken SUV thinking that it's going to be safe, because in all reality, in an emergency maneuver, old SUVs can actually flip themselves compared to older coupes and sedans. If you're looking for your first car and you don't have a lot of money, try grabbing one of these. Driving does not just have to be going from point A to point B. It can really be a fun thing. And driving a light, well put together, zippy manual car like the ones on this list is a great way to start out. Well guys, that's it for this video. I really hope you liked the list. Be sure to stay tuned for more videos like this, and I will be seeing all of you guys in the next one.